Clouds are swift, rocks are ancient, mountains are high, oceans gray, winds are restless, trees are patient. You, my child, are away. Waves are crashing, rivers churning, planets twirling, stars ablaze. Storms are raging, atoms whirling. You, my child, are away. To perceive these wondrous things, to count the beats of a blackbird's wings, to tell a story and dance and say. All the splendors of creation, very happy that you came, 'cause they needed someone to see them. You, my child, are away. To perceive these wondrous things, to count the beats of a blackbird's wings, to tell a story and dance and sing. Seeds are hopeful, dewdrops fleeting, oak trees crooked, redwoods straight, and they are not known to the sleeping. You, my child, are away. You, my child, are awake. You, my child.
You, my child, are awake to tell a story and dance and sing. How much easier it would be in a time like this to go to sleep, to distance, to numb, to pull away from all that pains us. But that's not who we are as people, as inheritors of this incredible gift of human life, or as Unitarian Universalists, people who wake now. Wake now our senses and hear the earth's call. So a poem from another Unitarian Universalist minister, my colleague Julia Hamilton, a prayer to start a prayer for the post office. This is a nonpartisan prayer about something as mundane as mail, as gentle as the swish of a letter falling to the floor by the door. This is a prayer for stamps and stamp collectors, the quietest of hobbies, for pen pals and thank you card writers, for grandparents who always remember your birthday, and love letters from the war kept at the bottom of a drawer. This is a prayer for the quiet dignity of the blue mailbox standing like a sentinel on the corner. Portal to anywhere for just the cost of a stamp. Walking to the mailbox down the block and around the corner was my daughter's first independent adventure, the responsibility of an envelope addressed and ready in her small, serious hand, her nervous departure from the front door alone, and her triumphant return minutes later. I did it, Mama. I mailed the letter all by myself. Do you remember the wonder of it? Dropping a letter in one place, mouth of the box swinging open and shut, eating the envelope like Cookie Monster, only to have that same letter reappear days later in another place. It is a mundane miracle. When I was a teenager, learning how to drive, my mother set up garbage cans in front of our house so I could practice parallel parking. Our mailman, swinging by from house to house, stopped with a big smile to shout, "Turn the wheel, cut it hard, that's right, now straighten it out." His brown arm waving in circles as we both grinned with the joy of it. A simple thing, feeling like part of something, a community maybe, where mail carriers and teenage drivers were all part of the same world. I remember how quickly he would run up and down the front steps, even in the hot and humid summer. Neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds. This is a prayer for the carriers on their routes, the clerk at the window, the backroom sorters, and the delivery truck drivers moving mountains one piece at a time, passing along that which was entrusted to them: electric bills, bank statements, birthday cards, ballots. Hear us, God of the taken for granted things. Divine mystery of overnight delivery, spirit of civic life, may we preserve this minor magic of letter and stamp, scale and package, sorting machine and postbox, so that our children do not shake their heads and wonder at all the things we allowed to slip away. So that our children do not shake their heads and wonder at all the things we allowed to slip away. We're in some trouble, aren't we? And when even the post office is at stake, we're in trouble. We're in trouble when we have to check the air quality readouts before deciding to go for a walk in our neighborhood. We're in trouble when we have to wear masks when we leave our home, when there is a culture war over the science of whether it's helpful to wear masks or not. We're in trouble when we can't agree Black Lives Matter, when we can't assure Black and brown members of our community they won't be murdered by the police officers supposedly employed to protect them. We're in trouble when even in the midst of a pandemic, even as smoke fills the skies and the air becomes unbreathable, we still have people sleeping in the streets. We're in trouble. And, living through this much trouble, it tosses our lives into turmoil in ways so big and so small. My brother, younger brother David, he ended up staying with me for a while this summer. He's been passing through his own big life transition, finishing graduate school and getting the first job in the career he's been working towards as a hydrogeologist. So just last week, he accepted this job to help manage the watershed between Los Gatos and Santa Cruz, that big basin area right where the CZU fires have been raging. And so we've been watching the maps, wondering if the home in the woods that a friend of his purchased a month ago, where he was planning to move next month, will survive. And thinking about all those whose homes have already burned or are under threat, who've evacuated, gathering with other evacuees, and yet still trying to maintain social distance. The dissertation my brother is frantically trying to finish before starting this job has been on the effect of climate change on alpine lakes. I'm sure I'd heard this statistic before, but somehow hearing him say it over and over again this summer sunk a bit deeper in me, that since the last ice age, over the last 20,000 years, the change in temperature, the change that radically changed weather patterns and geography across the world over the last 20,000 years, since the end of the last ice age, it's the same amount of change in temperature that we will predict will occur from human-created climate change by the end of this century. So I've been struggling, I guess, with the question of how do you live in a time like this? What do you do? How do we live our small human lives, our small, powerful but vulnerable human lives in the face of such massive catastrophe? And one of my answers has been to memorize poetry. You're going to see it's small answers today. This is The Last Good Days by Lynn Ungar. What will you do with the last good days? What will you do with the last good days before the seas rise and the skies close in? Before the terrible debt for all our thoughtless wanting finally comes due? What will you do with the last fresh morning? The last fresh morning, filled with the watermelon scent of cut grass and the insistent bird singing sweet, sweet across the shining day. Crops are dying, economies failing, men crazy with lust for power and fame are shooting up movie theaters and engineering the profits of banks. It is entirely possible it only gets worse from here. It is entirely possible that it only gets worse from here. How can you leave your heart open to such a vast, pervasive sadness? How can you close your eyes to the riot of joy and beauty that remains? How can you leave your heart open to such a vast, pervasive sadness? How can you close your eyes to the riot of joy and beauty that remains? The solutions, if there are any to be had, are complex, detailed, demanding. The answers are small and immediate. The answers are small and immediate. Wake up, give thanks, Sing. Wake up. Give thanks. Sing. Despite all. In the face of catastrophe upon catastrophe, in the face of so many problems which may have no solutions, Lynn calls us to remember those small and immediate answers, answers that will call us back to our bodies, back to our birthright inheritance, to the path of joy. Joy, which is the calling on every human life. What will you do with the last good days, with the last fresh morning? Wake up. Give thanks. Sing. Wake up. Let the poignancy of the moment in. Let it sink in past skin deep. Don't numb out the vast and pervasive sadness, lest you lose sight of the riot of joy and beauty that remains. Heed the call embedded in spiritual teachings from every tradition. Awaken from the slumber of monotony, from already knowing the end of the story, from the conversation you've got playing on a loop. Wake up to this moment, fleeting and precious, a moment that has never been before, will never come again. Waking up can seem like an intimidatingly daunting prospect to us sometimes, I think. Waking up in an enlightenment sense, a process requiring a lifetime devoted to hour upon hour of daily meditation or something really serious. And of course, there's beauty in that kind of devotion, that depth of practice. But the truth is, any of us can wake up at any time, any moment. It can be as simple as noticing what is right in front of you. You might try this right now. Just notice 3 things that you can see from where you are without moving. 3 things that you like. Notice how it feels to place your attention there. And take a moment now and notice if there's anything or how many things you can notice in your field of vision that are the color purple. Do you remember that most famous passage from The Color Purple by Alice Walker? Shug Avery is talking to Celie. She says, listen, God love everything you love, and a mess of stuff you don't. But more than anything else, God love admiration. God love admiration. You saying God vain? Celie asks. Not vain, just wanting to share a good thing. I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field somewhere and don't notice it. What'd it do when it pissed off? Oh, it makes something else. People think pleasing God is all God care about, but any fool living in the world can see it always trying to please us back. Yeah? Yeah, it always making little surprises and springing them on us when we least expect it. You mean it want to be loved, just like the Bible say? Yes, Celie. Everything want to be loved. Us sing and dance, make faces and give flower bouquets trying to be loved. You ever notice that trees do everything to get attention we do, except walk? I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field somewhere and don't notice it. Everything want to be loved. When the skies are smoky and the pandemic keeps us from our normal rhythms, I think it's easy to stop noticing the color purple. don't do it. The mundane miracle is still here. The purple riot of joy and beauty remains. The mail carrier still comes. The stamps still offer a magic carpet ride to send a letter through time and space and bring a smile or a tear to a loved one's face, a moment of exquisite excitement to a child looking for love. The color purple, the postal service, the mundane miracles keep happening if only we are awake enough to experience them. Wake up, give thanks. I've found that practicing gratitude gets more important the less grateful I feel. You notice that too? That is, the more anguish and despair I feel, the more I feel outraged and angry and heartbroken over the state of the world, the more critical it is to remember all that I'm grateful for. Because the truth is, even now, we are still in paradise. Even now, with all that ails us and our planet, even now, this is the only paradise there is. This is the only paradise we are given. No imagined paradise free of suffering or injustice, free of fires and plague. No perfect world waiting for us after this one. No heavenly paradise or planet B. The ancient stories that speak of paradise, that Garden of Eden, the Sumerian tales that the ancient Israelites drew on as they wrote their mythology, they made clear paradise was in this world. The holy place at the bottom of the mountain where fresh water flowed from holy snowbanks and life could grow and thrive. Even now, we are in paradise. How can you close your eyes to the riot of joy and beauty that remains? Give thanks. Wake up, give thanks, and sing. Sing to rejoice at the beauty of the world. Sing Alleluia. Sing in lamentation, a cold and broken Alleluia. Sing sad songs, songs of weeping by the river. Sing to give voice the feelings that roil in our bellies. Sing to build unity and power amongst the people. Oh, I do miss it, getting together with you to sing. It's no small thing we do to gather each week and sing together, to stumble through a new or awkward hymn together, to let our voices ring out in the familiar comfort of a favorite tune. Singing together has a profound effect on our nervous systems. For many indigenous cultures, ceasing to sing was a sign of a profound soul-level ailment. Ceasing to sing, a sign that a healing intervention was needed. I worry sometimes that without the group body gathering to make it easier, many people these days have stopped singing. Don't stop singing. Now more than ever, sing, dance, make, create, participate in the unfolding beauty of creation. You might have heard me tell this story before. We have a wonderful theologian, Charles Hartshorne, in our history. Jan Seagrave knew him well, I think. He was an ornithologist in addition to being a theologian. And he studied birds and found that birds would sometimes sing just for the pleasure of singing. That there were bird songs that had no utilitarian purpose. They weren't to call for a mate or alert other birds to danger, all the things that birds often sing because of. That sometimes birds would sing just because it brought more beauty into the world. And from that, he extrapolated this conclusion that that is part of our power, of all created beings' power. All beings' power is to be part of the unfolding beauty of creation. That we can make more beauty, and there's no limit to how much can be made. So I want to close, if you will, with a one breath song. This might be a little bit strange, but I invite you to just do this with me if you're willing, to just cup your hands and just for yourself, take a breath in. First, we'll just take a breath in, let it out with a sigh. And then we'll just take a breath in and cup your hands up to your lips and just give yourself a one breath song. You can just hum a note or sing out one note, or you can let your voice wander, but just for one breath, a song just for you. Wake up, give thanks, sing, may it be so, and amen. I've missed Milton's music. Thank you. In a moment, Evelyn will whisk us into small groups of 3 or 4 to share a moment of benediction with one another. And for that today, I invite you to just share, what are the mundane miracles you are grateful for right now? What mundane miracles have you noticed lately? When we return, we'll be in these groups for about 4 minutes, and when we come back, we'll sing our closing song, Circle Around, and then have virtual coffee hour for those who'd like to stay.